Hey, I'm Anthony Romano, and I'm going to tell you in this video how to make your own Limitless pills from natural ingredients. So these are supplements basically that are natural in their form, and they are most comparable to the most popular drug that the movie Limitless is actually based off of. So if you're familiar with that, it is the drug Modafinil, which people have talked about. It's an anti-narcolepsy drug, which basically has certain effects that allow you to be more alert, more focused, and the supplements I'm going to be talking about in this video are the most comparable to it from natural sources that are actually beneficial for your brain in the long run. And when we're looking at natural nootropics, these are some of the most foundational ones for productivity. So I'm going to explain them in this video and why they're natural, what the benefits are, how to use them. These are my absolute favorite ones that I use when we're talking about productivity. Okay, you see the other videos I make a shitload of videos, and I actually have 2 other jobs that I do besides this YouTube stuff and online coaching with, people with brain injuries, people with diabetes, people with a lot of other issues. And essentially this is only one part of my life, and it's actually, if you want to classify it, 33% of what I do. And if you think that I'm relatively productive with this page, then you have no idea how much other shit I'm doing on a regular basis. So this video is going to give you those tips and what the supplements are after I roll my intro. Before I get into the supplements here, I'd like you to please like the video. That will make YouTube show my videos to more people, and that's all you have to do to help me grow my page. That, and also, if you've seen a couple of my other videos before, just subscribe already, okay? And also follow me on Instagram. So, let's get into the first one here. The first one I am a huge fan of is a new supplement that you probably haven't heard of. It's called Zytomite, okay? And the brand I prefer for this, and basically the only brand where you can get this pretty much, is Azoth, which is an American company. I know the guys at these company. I have an affiliation with them and a discount code, by the way, down below. But that's actually not the reason why I'm so adamant about this product. Zytomite is a mango extract, which is a natural compound, but for some reason, it can increase brainwaves of all types, so alpha, beta, theta, delta, and it enhances the effects of caffeine, it heightens alertness, and there's literally no crash, okay? I absolutely love this stuff. Zytomite is my absolute favorite, and as far as natural modafinil substitutes, it is probably the closest thing you will get, but it doesn't have any sort of crashing or any sort of sleep disturbances. This is basically my most functional nootropic I use on a regular basis as far as energy goes and mental capacity, okay? Another study I've seen has shown that this is better at increasing blood flow to the brain, and the more blood, well, appropriate amounts of blood you can get to the brain, the better, okay? Your brain's going to function better when you get more oxygen, more blood, and it's just one key nootropic that's so easy that I really believe most people will get a benefit from. In my opinion, almost all pre-workouts are going to be using this stuff within 10 years because it's a relatively new ingredient and it has such profound effects on your energy levels mentally and also physically. In my opinion, I've also found that I could work out multiple times a day and there's no downfalls from anything I've experienced. So Zytomite is absolutely my favorite, and if you do want to get it, I recommend you go to the links in the description because it is powerful. They also have it in other forms from Azoth with a combination product with rhodiola and slow release caffeine, but that's just one key supplement here. The next one that is also very powerful is Uridine monophosphate. So there's plenty of other people who've spoken about Uridine. One of the ones is Ryan Michael Ballo from Cortex Nootropics. Now, if you do mess around with a lot of nootropics, this guy is great. I mean, you can't ignore him. Definitely probably the most sophisticated source on nootropics out there on YouTube, but uridine monophosphate plays a key role in actually growing your brain, okay? It increases neurite outgrowth and essentially your ability to build new neurons. But the main functional component of this is its effect on dopamine. So if you know anything about dopamine, it is the reward response in your brain. And if you get more dopamine, without going, overboard to the point of drugs that are, illegal and super addictive and things like meth and not natural components of your DNA, well, of nucleic acid like uridine, then basically that is where you'll run into problems. You will not run into problems with things that modulate dopamine and regulate it in a way such as uridine. What you will receive is great task retention. So even with people with sort of ADHD-like symptoms, which I have a video on coming out soon, that is, we're just scratching the surface here, but task retention is ultimately a brain reward response issue, because if you can't feel motivated to continue doing something, it's because you're not getting the appropriate amounts of dopamine in response to certain stimuli. So Uridine, one thing I've also noticed is you are sharper when you have Uridine. You are also sharper with things like Zytomite, but Uridine just functions in a different way where I literally find you will learn things quicker. And there's a lot of rationale behind this. Even people like Ryan Michael Ballo have explained this. But the primary thing that you do want to know when you take Uridine is it's best to take with a high quality EPA DHA supplement, particularly the DHA, so the omega-3s, and also with a B vitamin. So I'm going to explain this a little bit here. Remember when I said that Uridine helps your brain build new neurons? Part of the resources that it will need to do that are DHA and B vitamins. So whenever you do get a B vitamin supplement, you want to make sure that it is of the right types. When you look on the back of a B vitamin supplement, you want to make sure that each of the technical names of the B vitamins themselves are listed as methyl forms. So anything that says other, that doesn't say methyl on it, doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, but if you see things like cyanocobalamin, that basically means it's B12, cobalamin, plus a cyanide group, which is going to get digested in your liver and ultimately lead to less bioavailability of cobalamin, B12. So not every B vitamin is attached to a methyl group, but if they are all methyl forms, methylfolate, methylcobalamin, things like that, generally that means the company probably knew what they were doing and they put in the other optimized forms of the other B vitamins. Like for B6, they'll put in pyridoxal 5-phosphate opposed to pyridoxine. So things like that, which are also important. But if you consume a good quality B complex that is a methyl form, like the one I have listed down below, this will play a role in aiding the effectiveness of Uridine. Now, side note, for myself personally, I find that I actually will take a half of a good quality B complex. If I take one whole one, even on a day where I don't take Uridine, it's very highly stimulatory for me. So I take only about a half serving. So about, if you get a balanced B100 complex, like the one I have listed down below, if you take half, maybe if you're already quite stimulated, it will be more balanced for you. The krill oil is my preferred source of DHA because it contains the DHA, the omega-3 fatty acid, in the phospholipid form. Basically, it's able to cross the blood-brain barrier better, and it can help build phosphatidylcholine, which is basically your reserves for acetylcholine in your brain. Acetylcholine is the primary focus neurotransmitter, and if you combine this and a B complex of the right form with uridine monophosphate, you are going to feel sharper. You're going to feel like you just had a software update. You're going to feel really good. So as far as the closest natural source to a Limitless pill, this is another great option. And as a side note, uridine makes up nucleic acid. It is not something that is, even though it is, produced artificially, it's not something that your body would never have touched, like a drug in a sort of way, which is also why legally people can sell uridine supplements as a more natural nootropic. So that's, we went from a mango extract to something that sounds very synthetic, and this is also another compound that your body makes. Okay, so the next one is iodine. Now, this is very interesting. Iodine is a mineral that most people are deficient in some way, especially because we've known for almost 100 years now that the mineral density of all the foods and water that we drink is far lower in iodine than it used to be. And iodine is one of the most important minerals for brain function. Most people are deficient in iodine. If you were born with ADHD or something like that, it's most likely due to a deficiency in iodine when you were a child, or prenatal, basically. Now, I'm particularly influenced by the work of Dr. Jorge Duras, basically, who explains, I've seen entire seminars from this guy, which you can even watch, one of them is on YouTube, on the benefits of iodine. And if, for example, if pregnant women are consuming adequate amounts of iodine during pregnancy, their child will be born with at least 30 IQ points more than if they hadn't have supplemented with iodine. Now, there are a lot of distinctions here with iodine, and you have to be aware of them, okay? The primary best option to take it is in Lugol's solution. The brand that is most commonly providing Lugol's solution is J. Crow's, link in the description. What is Lugol's solution? It is basically both types of iodine. It is the potassium iodide and the elemental iodine. And basically, if you only have one form, it's only going to go to half of the tissues in your body that it's capable of being stored in. And You want the iodine to go to all the tissues in the body that's needed for. Every cell in your body can take up iodine. Every tissue in your body, every gland needs iodine. And a lot of people, if they are deficient in iodine, they will notice it's one of the most life-changing supplements out there. Now, you should not overdose on iodine, but to give you a little bit of peace of mind, all of the work on people overdosing on iodine was basically from work in the 50s, I believe, but then like 2 or 3 years later, the same people who found problems with overdosing iodine found that they generally aren't as problematic as people thought, because all the problems basically eliminate after a couple days. So granted, that doesn't mean jug a bottle of iodine. I mean, it'll probably mess you up, so don't be irresponsible with any of the advice here. It's just my interpretations of the research out there, and I'm not a medical doctor, yada yada yada. But iodine is powerful, and people, once they start getting adequate iodine, find their functioning is far improved in a lot of different ways, especially because for a lot of people, iodine is one of the key components of your thyroid, and basically getting adequate amounts of iodine is going to help your body's engine, the thyroid gland, function a lot better. Okay, in addition to other sex organs, women need it for their ovaries, breast tissue, men need it for prostate and, sexual testosterone, testicle functions that I'm not going to get into in this video, but basically it is powerful, and you will see a lot of improvements in a lot of different areas of your life. So I recommend that. Now, the last one here is ketone supplements. This is very interesting because although ketone supplements themselves are basically artificial, your body naturally produces ketones, okay? Even if you don't do a ketogenic diet, anytime you go to sleep, when your brain is repairing the absolute most because there's no food coming in and your blood sugar is low and stable, and same with your insulin, you are producing ketones. When you are exercising, post-exercise, you are producing ketones. Granted, not enough to be in nutritional ketosis, but ketosis is the state that is most associated with brain repair. Okay, now think about this. Like I said, when you're asleep, that is when your brain is repairing the most, right? When you're not eating. When you think of our ancestral environment, carbohydrates do not grow in the winter. There's no way to avoid a ketogenic diet in the winter, which is why I have videos talking about the seasonality of our metabolism, how it's like everything else in the world, day, night, summer, winter, chaos, order. There's a duality to our metabolism. And half of the year, I believe there is a large healing and cleansing properties to being in a ketogenic state. So the absence of carbohydrates. This does not mean dumping lard on everything you eat, like most marketers will tell you, or dumping butter. It simply means you're not eating sugar. Okay? And what happens when you take exogenous ketones, you're basically giving your body the ketones, even if you didn't make them, and it will use them in the same way that a ketogenic diet will. As far as the functional benefit of these ketones, the primary domino effect you're going to receive is that your blood sugar will stabilize once you consume ketones. They will also provide fuel for the brain immediately for usage. And people will tell you that keto is the starvation state. Keto is not the starvation state. It is the default state of our metabolism, because when you're not eating anything, that is when your body defaults to using ketones as the fuel, right? And we have not had the luxuries we do as of the last couple hundred years, where we have food readily available all the time. We evolved from people who didn't. And guess when they would have to remember things and have the highest brain function? When they were looking for food, when they were without food, when they were hunting, when they were gathering, when they were doing things to get food. That is when they would have to have the highest efficiency of brain function. And there's no coincidence that taking ketones is going to stabilize your sugar, stabilize your insulin, make it a great appetite suppressant, but it will play into your productivity in a level that is comparable to the Limitless pill, because it is going to basically make you less distracted from hunger, make you less distracted as far as your blood sugar fatigue goes, okay? Your energy, your willpower, moment to moment, is your blood sugar. And I have an entire video on this. And this is why exogenous ketones are a great way to really tap into that, and then also provide your brain with some immediately usable fuel. The brain prefers to use ketones. I have other videos on this because it's too broad of a claim for me to prove in this video, but you can watch my other videos to learn more about that. If you want a lighter way to tap into blood sugar regulation, you could use apple cider vinegar to get a similar blood sugar stabilizing effect. However, it's not as powerful as this. But as a side note, you don't want to overdo either exogenous ketones or MCT supplements, because if you're new to them, it will make you have to run to the bathroom with some GI distress. So do not do that, and use them with caution, and watch my other videos on these things to learn how to use them properly, particularly the ketones and MCTs. Now, I actually have another video on how the ketogenic diet is the real Limitless pill, but it is the real life limitless pill as far as, nutritional approaches to this. The benefits of ketosis allow your blood sugar to stabilize. They allow you to be constantly focused without disruptions, not dependent on food to have energy. And they also have other benefits for your brain, such as the foods you're commonly eating on keto will build brain cells better because you have the EPA DHA commonly in them. Also because the ketogenic state itself is associated with autophagy, which is the cleansing of the body and weak, dead proteins and feeding them to the stronger ones. And also there's other studies and other work clearly proving that keto improves the myelin layer around your neurons, which basically is the cause of things like MS. It's the cause of other neurodegenerative problems. Excess blood sugar is basically going to create amyloid plaques in your brain, which lead to Alzheimer's, dementia, and ketosis has been proven to remove them. It is what I've used to fix people with their brain injuries. Literally, I have done this and applied it myself to other people. But using these ketone supplements is simply one way to access it and get a taste for it. Like I said, I would not be as productive as I like to think that I am if it were not for a ketogenic diet. This is part of the reason I've stuck with it for the past 9 years, not simply for bodybuilding and fitness purposes and overall health. And again, keep in mind, I do have strategic carbohydrate usage. There's plenty of ways to work keto into your lifestyle, but it's simply that it is a part of our evolutionary history and what allows a human to function as best they can. So in my opinion, I do not believe without any doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, that I would be able to do the amount of work that I do, the amount of reading that I do, take in and synthesize all this information and try to spit it out at you in 20-minute videos that are all like one take shots, okay? None of that would be possible without the ketogenic dieting, and that is partly why I stick with it. I am way more effective and productive of a person if I am on a ketogenic diet 90% of the time, which I am. So, as a side note, I would also recommend that if you do use these things, try to have some space between a carb meal if you are consuming carbohydrates after consuming these. You want your body to have a demand to use the ketones, and even if you're somebody who eats carbohydrates, you want to give it some space so that your body can actually use them and won't simply prefer the carbohydrates over. So again, that is, the least you can do to have the maximum efficiency of using a product like this. That should be it for this video. Keep in mind, this video was meant to be the most natural alternatives to a limitless pill. Basically the most powerful nootropics that I use on a regular basis that are natural to allow lifestyle balance, but high amounts of productivity. Okay, this is different from my other videos on nootropics because those are essentially ones that are not as productivity oriented as this one. This one was meant to be the most powerful natural nootropics, and that hopefully was beneficial for you. Leave me some questions down below and some comments. I'll do my best to get back to you and give you some answers. And also go to my website, romanoketo.com, if you're interested in the books I'm writing, the programs I'm putting out, the coaching that I offer, the consults that I offer, and check out my other videos too while you're there. Okay? Anthony Romano, peace.